Итак, ребят, всем привет, и мы продолжаем проходить Шерлок Холмс, преступление и наказание. Итак, что у нас по заданиям? Используйте то, чтобы пройти по следу странного запаха в лаборатории. Погнали.
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do.
Let us go to Kew Gardens.
Так. Так. Приехали.
Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance. Search, Toby. Search.
Тоби, ищи. Ты сам открыл дверь, офигеть. Слушай, шикарно вообще. Играть за Тоби.
Congratulations,
Молодец,
Toby.
Тоби.
Now let
Посмотрим,
us
что ты
see what you
нашел.
have found. This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here. There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes. A tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
Так, дальше что у нас? Найдите убийцу мистера Монтегердана, найдите растение, с помощью которого убили Монтегердана. Спросить анализ. Осколок статуи. Применение. Спросить. Ну что, погнали. Спрашивать людей.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, oh, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure,
Я не
then?
в курсе.
But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy.
Вообще-то
I
я
cannot be
не
everywhere at
буду везде
once.
сразу.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say. He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work, for Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father, so it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
И тут еще получается применение. Что бы там капает?
Do you work here?
Yes, part-time only. For I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the Deputy Director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed. That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone, dismissively, with indifference.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Я думаю, что-то с рукой этого. Так, надо найти применение. Не тут. Давайте пока еще тут разберемся. От чего еще ключ открыть мы можем. Тут мы уже открыли. Тут тоже.
Nursery.
Теплица. Вот и все получается. Вот здесь.
The seeds of plant species are stored here.
Вот мы нашли применение, получается, и теперь можем, получается, найти применение осколком мрамора. Скорее всего, вот теперь я знаю, где эта колониальная коллекция. Я что-то даже не врубился. Вот теперь я знаю, где она находится. Здесь, скорее всего. Как все запущено там. Да блин, не туда я иду, сори.
Seed.
Где эта фигня? А, господи, вон там. Голова вылетела. Вот, Colonial Collection. Странно, что я не заметил это. Еще раньше, блин. Нет? Тут ничего нет. Тут тоже ничего нет. Ну подвинься, споваться. Блин, где эта фигня? Надо найти что-то, что в принципе отломленное. Но где? Что-то тут должно быть. О! Помимо черта он придет. Нет?
It is a bust
Это бюст
of Montague Dunn.
Что тут я не могу найти? А рук нет или что? Вот что-то не осмотрели мы, вот что? Ага, о, вижу.
I am curious if the marble that we found will fit
stuff.
this place.
Подойдет.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common.
Окей, теперь у нас получается просить про осколок статуи. Скорее всего, Альберт Дан что-то об этом знает. Посмотрим.
Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
Понятно. Тогда не он.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
Useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was.
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he, why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room, in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
Ключат где в гарden. Нет.
There is a bust.
A bust?
But why?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Ну что, возвращаемся на Бейкер-стрит. Конечно, сложновато нам это расследование не дается. Нам надо посмотреть по этому верту. Приехали. Ну, я думаю, скоро уже мы уже завершим данное расследование. Сначала в архиве поищем. Так. 89-й год. Скандал в Божественном Синдикате. Божественный Синдикат стали объектом скандала в Божественном Синдикате. Божественный Синдикат стали объектом административного разбирательства. Руководители этой организации подозревать в финансовых махинациях. Дело может дойти до суда. Может, между тем, в parte данного расследования выступили многие высокопоставленные лица. На самом деле, это частная организация, ставящая целью защиту природы и объединяющая многих влиятельных людей, включая себя и представителей оппозиционной партии.
Here it is.
Вот так-то.
And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn.
Найдите, что скрывает Божественный Синдикат. Получается, надо отправиться туда. Продолжаем. Так, продолжаем.
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. A fragment of a flower pot. The Kew Gardens symbol. Locked.
Заперто. Ну что, пойдем туда. В гору.
Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock.
I am exalting the sun. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover, from the quality of the ambient geotropism. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance, do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcome you are. To introduce myself, I shall. I am the Green Grand Mystic.
The Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
Татуировка сразу видно. Мозоль на кончиках пальцев. Ого. Занимается химией.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate. Glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Green Grand...
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Our God King's name is Triwa, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh, la. Good. Good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation, can you make when you so?
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Raw sap, it is called. It is neither juice.
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago. And we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Wow. Найдите, что открывает Божественный Синдикат. Ключ от Синдиката.
You came to make a donation?
Glory to Tree-One!
This door is locked, but I can try to open it.
Блин, опять этот замок сломанный. Ой. Ребята, если что, я буду скипать такие замки, вы уж меня извините. Я хочу скипануть это дело, я не хочу этим заниматься.
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments. This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory at Kew Gardens. These instruments are used for smoking opium.
Так.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. These three plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
Получается, ты обворовал Синдикат. Молодец. Ничего не скажешь. Так. Ну что, осталось у нас, получается, вот анализ. И, в принципе, все. Так, отправляемся мы с вами в Набайка-стрит и заканчиваем на этом. С вами был Кирилл, всем удачи и пока.